Hello everyone, Izzy here and welcome back to my channel. Today we've got something that I hope will be interesting. I will do more randomly generated character designs eventually because I think that video was actually working out quite well until the audio decided to go insane. But for now, we've got a somewhat original idea, I hope. So believe it or not, I've humanized cars before. They were the characters from Knight Rider, Kit, Car, and the Flag mobile unit. Haha, just kidding, that's the Semi. If I remember, I will insert pictures of them here. But for now, I've thought, they had personalities already. They were kind of an easy gig as far as humanizing cars go. So I thought, but the thing about cars, first of all, is that they have a lot, and I mean a lot, of human-like descriptions. They can be sporty, they can be fast, they can be casual, they can be blue collar, white collar, all sorts of stuff you can learn about cars. And they all kind of have their own personality in a way. I know practically nothing about the technicalities of cars, but I know that I like them. They're cool. They look nice. And I thought, what if I humanized more cars, but not ones that were characters already, just regular cars. But in order to do this, I need to figure out a car to humanize. And I don't know any cars. So what I'm gonna do is hope, hey, it exists. Sweet. We just need one. That's all we need today. Ducati ST2. I have no idea what that is, but what's going to happen now is I'm going to go on a bit of research. Okay, that wasn't a sentence. I'm going to go do some research about this car and find out what are its defining features. And no, I don't mean like its engine and stuff. I mean like how you would describe its personality of sorts. And if Top Gear has ever done a segment on this car, I'm trusting them over everyone. Okay, Top Gear was great. The BBC one, the American one, but oh my goodness, my mouse. Okay. I'm gonna do some off-camera research on the Ducati ST2 from 2003, and I'm probably pronouncing Ducati wrong, so that's fun. Car people are gonna wanna slap me, but it's okay. We're gonna have a good time, and I'll be back when I know enough about this car to start designing. Hello, temporary voiceover time. I think I was pronouncing Ducati right, and if I wasn't, I haven't learned since then, so yay. What I did here was I just looked up the Ducati ST2, after which I promptly found out that it was a motorcycle. So I don't know what happened here, but it's okay, we kept going. And I started looking up articles, and there weren't a ton on the ST2 because it seems like the ST2, the ST3, and the ST4 are all kind of lumped together, but they have very different descriptions. So I had to find everything on the ST2. And I found out that it kind of came out in waves. Like, there was a version that came out in the 90s with XYZ colors, and then it re-released later. I don't know, just more colors started showing up essentially until it went out of production in 2003. So I thought that meant the Ducati ST2 2003 meant that it started being made in 03, but it just meant it went out of production. You'll see me flipping between videos and articles and all sorts of stuff, and if I found an article or video particularly helpful, I'll try to remember to link it in the description. But essentially everything that I picked up, I pasted into a Google Doc, And pretty soon I'll kind of be explaining what it all means in real time. And I came to some conclusions I never thought I'd come to about a motorcycle. Let's just say that. Alright, after some research, I've come to some conclusions about this car. Random car generator, why have you done this to me? It's fine though, really. Kit would probably be ashamed of me, but it's okay. So the Ducati ST2 was a cross between a sport motorcycle and a touring motorcycle, which I think means it was a sporty motorcycle with a more casual flair. So it emphasized comfort, it emphasized economy, that sort of thing. But it also could go somewhat fast. And the more I thought about this, well, first of all, those little containers that have an official name, but I don't remember it, for luggage and stuff, that to me screamed a backpack of some sort. And then the value aspect and the comfort but sporty, it makes me feel like this person's young but on a budget, and I just got college kid vibes from this motorcycle. Oh my gosh, I probably sound insane. Um, so I thought, what color scheme to go with? And for the 2003, according to that wiki, or that discussion forum, which I have no idea if it's right, but I'm also going to trust it for now anyway. The in 2003, the colors offered were red, yellow, and silver. But the thing is, when the motorcycle was originally made, it also was offered in silver. So as fun as it would be to go with wild colors, I thought it'd be most faithful to what this motorcycle is to use the silver color palette. But I can see other colors in there too. There's splashes of red and orange and yellow. I'd probably lean most into the yellow and the red since the orange is just kind of a standard color. And I also noticed that this motorcycle has some pretty sharp edges on it. It looks really neat. And that glass window thing makes me think this character could have glasses. So I think this is going to be a male college student who like walks around in sweats but also wears like Nikes or something. Like that's the vibes I'm getting. So now it's just time to assemble some pictures for reference and then go to town designing this character. So I'm excited actually. Alright, back to voiceover. The first thing I did was to collage together a bunch of pictures based on my ideas. Now I'd come to the conclusion of a college kid who wears a backpack and pretty casual but sporty looking clothes, so I found stuff that kind of replicated that. So I found college kid fashion, I found glasses, visor type glasses, visor type hats, backpacks, that sort of idea, just to have some references on hand, and I ended up finding more later. But I also grabbed some pictures of the motorcycle itself, and I take inspiration from the shapes and the general shape language, I guess, of the motorcycle. So, like, it had a lot of sharper edges, but also some rounded parts, and I reflected that in the character essentially. And the character you see here isn't the best drawn. It's in a really loose pose, not necessarily gravity working pose, but it is one that allows me to throw on all the clothes and see how it works from an angle that'll show off the backpack, which is what I was going for this stage. Now, one thing I debated as I drew this, which you'll probably see, I don't do too much with the face at all, but I was debating, actually then I wasn't debating it at this stage, never mind. But I was just roughing out the clothes, roughing out, moving things around if they didn't work, and I switched ideas midway through. I was originally gonna do a jacket with a turtleneck combination because that was in one of my reference pictures, but I just didn't like how it looked for this character, so I went back to the original hoodie idea I had in my head, and I think it worked out a lot better. I also gave this character some ripped pants, and you can't really see it here, but I'm actually going for the thing where like people will wear pants underpants. I'm mature. Um, wear 2 layers of pants because I wanted the red to be peeking through in the knees because it kind of looked like that was around where the reflectors were in comparison to the wheels. Little things like that to make this character feel like a human incarnation of this motorcycle. And as I toyed around, I also was keeping in mind that every color I was going to be using, which I strayed from this once or twice, but hardly any, was going to be directly color picked from the original vehicle, from the car, from the motorcycle. And when I had something I was relatively happy with, I switched over to focusing on the face. I knew I wanted the face to be relatively sharp but look friendly because I wanted it to look like this kid was a sporty family man. That's kind of the vibe I wanted to go for because that's what I got from the sports from the ST combination. Touring. There we go. I remembered the word. I know things. From the sports and touring combination. It's like, yes, it's sporty, but you can go with a friend. And this guy is the friend who likes sports sometimes. And pretty soon here, I'm gonna play around with adding glasses to this face. Now in just a little bit here, if I know how, I will put up a poll because I did not know whether they're actually goggles was the idea. Whether the goggles should stay or not. And I decided to keep them because I didn't have time to wait for the poll to finish the video because I'd need to post the video to do the poll. But I just thought the goggles look like the speedometer kind of. And I wanted that one round element to come through in the final. But I don't know if it contributed to the vibes well or not. At the end of the day, I also think the glasses are cute. I'm just kind of partial to glasses on characters. So I'll choose that if I have the option. I thought it might look cluttered with the visor hat, but it doesn't. And speaking of, at least to me, and speaking of the visor cap, in the reference pictures I found, there was the bill coming out that was kind of see-through, and then something came out over the top that was also kind of see-through. I couldn't figure out how to draw that and make it not look kind of weird. And I was like, well, is the visor just not going to work then? And then I looked at some more references, and I found at least one that did not have the top bit. So I thought, okay, we're just going to make it like a regular visor cap, but it's see-through. Hopefully that works. Then I moved on to drawing the character. Well, first I grabbed some colors, and I think I did some testing. Actually, I decided against it. I was going to do some testing, which is why you see me tabbing through everything. But I eventually decided to not do that. Then I went on to drawing the character in an environment. And this is where I do the color picking. And I'm not sure if there's too much I can say about the color picking, because I just grabbed them from the motorcycle, and what I hoped was a similar ratio to how it was on the bike. But the thing, I just want to talk a little bit more about the choices for the character himself, because the hair was a bit of a difficult thing to adjust to, but I wanted him to have helmet head, essentially. I thought it'd kind of be cheating to use a motorcycle helmet on him since, I mean, he's meant to represent a motorcycle. It just kind of feels like cheating to use a vehicle item on a vehicle, which is also why I didn't put any sort of like motorcycle graphic design on his sweatshirt or something. Like that, you could realistically have that, but it really feels like cheating. And I didn't draw him with the motorcycle either because I didn't want to draw the motorcycle, to be honest. I knew that I had already spent a lot of time on this. I didn't want to spend a ton more time on it. and learning to draw the motorcycle would take forever. So that's the reasoning behind it. But the helmet hair, I thought, was a fun way to bring in the motorcycle somehow, and I actually think it did contribute to making him look a little more sporty, a little bit more like you could catch him on a motorcycle. And I never did sketch out or find references for the shoes. And I honestly didn't feel like it by this point, so I just kind of drew them in. And like with the character design session before, this one is a pretty casual sort of drawing. It's not meant to be finished, it's meant to be sketching out an idea. So I just threw an overlay layer of black over the sketch, and then it just kind of functioned like sort of line art, and that was good enough for me for this one. I actually went a little too ham on the background later, just because I was having fun with it. And because I really like how he came out. I actually might draw this character more. That's right, I'm drawing the motorcycle boy in my sketchbook probably at some point. Not something I thought I'd ever say. But I wonder what his name could be. Is Ducati a name? Could Ducati be a name? Oh my gosh, what if his initials are ST? Like his first name's Ducati and then his last name is something with a T. Actually, it could be touring. Heck, but sport can't be his middle name. It'd have to be something more creative than that. He's a Sean to me. What about that? His name's Sean Touring. Yes, okay. Okay, we're going with that. Unless you come up with something better. If you come up with something better, I'll change it. But for now, his name's Sean Touring, and I love him. His nickname's Ducati. There we go. Yes. We love our boy. As I threw in the colors, I wasn't sure if I was going to keep the red sort of knee pad-like situation, but I decided to keep it because it calls back to the original motorcycle a whole lot more. And I also feel like this is one of those characters that benefits a lot from an environment because his outfit is quite on the light side because it is the silver color palette. So it's like he has hints of a dark gray / black in the undershirt and stuff, but for the most part, he's all silver, and it just doesn't stand out against the white background. And another thing about the silver, I didn't like how the silver sweatshirt looked with the silver pants, and so I used a shadowed area of the motorcycle that was probably originally the same silver, but it was in shadow, so it looked darker. And I thought that worked well to provide a little bit of contrast between the top and bottom without becoming not loyal to the original idea of the motorcycle. And at the end of the day, our boy Sean is looking kind of sporty, kind of friendly. He's waving hi to a friend, and I had a ton of fun with this. I don't know if this is something that anyone is ever going to want to see happen again, but if you do want to see it again, I would be beyond happy too. Especially if I can find a car, a car that was on Top Gear. That would be great because they describe it so well. I had a really tricky time coming up with the same sort of descriptor words for this motorcycle as I would for a car. So I would definitely love to give this another go. I'd love to have a whole car universe of people. It'd be great. And thank you for watching whatever this was. I hope you have a wonderful and joyful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Izzy. Oh no. At first I was going for a regular jacket with per terp I think we gotta end this one, boys.